welcome to my channel, Mindful Writing with the Rebel Writer. I am the naked FireFly. First of all, I want to address the Author 2 newbie tag 2.0. I realized that I have forgot a question. I want to go ahead and address that, get that out of the way while it's still fresh in my mind. And the question was, are you looking for any new channels, writing buddies, CPs, or betas? And if you are, share it in the comments. I know I just summarized that question, but I am looking for writing buddies and betas, as well as any new channels that I haven't heard of. Now that that's over and out the way, I wanted to get up here and share with you about what I do. Now, if you are new to my channel, then you do not know that I am a homeschooling mom of technically 4, because the 5th one is not at homeschooling level yet, since she just got here maybe about almost 3 months ago. So right now I'm just dealing with 4 who are homeschooling. Typically we would do our homeschooling at the last week of July. That's when we start, because we get out of school so early. We get out of school, my family, because I know a lot of homeschoolers in this area that follow the traditional school calendar. We do not, and I'm going to explain why. But typically we start at the last weekend of July and we get out about the 2nd, the 3rd week of May. So, and there is a reason for that. In the state of North Carolina, homeschooling children are required to do school for 180 days, and we are also required to do attendance, as well as to show our children are up to date on shots. But most importantly, the children have to do an exam every single year, except for the year that they're not 7. So when they turn 7 years old, they are required to take an exam every year for this state. And even though we will be moving soon, I still want to follow the state's way of doing things, so that when we move back, my children won't suffer for it. So I want to show you a couple of things that I do to get them ready, and then I will explain to you why my children start school so early and why we are able to finish so early while everybody else is still in school. We're done and enjoying our summer vacation. So let's get to it. So as you see here, these are some of the things I use to get us ready for the new school year. Now, the first thing here, of course, is the calendar. Usually I use 5J's school calendar. I really like the way that they do it, because theirs is not already set up like the school systems. Theirs is actually blank when it first starts. They even have like the little blank pieces down here. Of course, they always have Thanksgiving and Christmas and Easter. My family does not celebrate any of those holidays, and I will get into that explanation at the end of this video. However, for this year, for some reason, they do not have their new one up. So as you can see, I have purple for when we start and purple for when we end. Then the yellow is basically saying, hey, this is how many days of school we're going to be doing. The red is the holidays that we, of course, came up with, and I will explain those holidays. And then you see like this little orange, faded orange part. These are the days that we are not going to do school, because we usually do school for about 6 weeks. And then on the 7th week, we take a whole entire break. They take a break from me, I take a break from them, and we go about our business. So this year I have to transfer all of this lovely stuff over here. I like to use different type of curriculum. When we first started homeschooling, we were Christian. So we were a very Christian-based homeschool, and we used Charlotte Manson, one of those. You homeschooling moms know who I'm talking about out there. But I really liked that curriculum, and we still implement some of the teachings even today. She was very stuck on reading living books and not just textbooks, because she felt like those were just fodder. She believed in children actually going out and exploring the world, no matter how old they were. She believed in them keeping records. I think the only thing that she was in support of, if they had those back in the day, would have been a math book. I mean, that's the only thing I can really think of. And usually that's what we order for the children, math books. Other than that, they really don't get textbooks in the schooling. We usually do go to the library, or we'll buy the books off of Amazon, or we used to have a used bookstore here, but they closed. And they used to go there and buy their books from there, whatever books they were interested in. So now I have come, this will be our 4th year homeschooling, and we have come a lot further from Charlotte Manson, but from Charlotte's curriculum that we started to implement into our homeschool was classical education. The Well-Trained Mind is actually a very good book for homeschool families who kind of want to do like the classical education. I personally like the way that the classical education is set up. It's set up in 3 different, they split the children's grades up. Like kindergarten through 4th grade is the grammar stage. And you know, they learn the basics of what is needed to know, and how to learn like the reading, the math, the science. I really like how they have that set up. And then of course they go next from 5th grade through 8th grade, which is the logic stage. And I really like that because it's gotten more into them starting to learn how to research on their own. And I'm a big person on research. How they start researching on their own and start implementing that into papers, and and they do a lot of writing in the classical education curriculum, probably more than reading, which has its pluses and its minuses. And that's where the Charlotte's curriculum kind of kicks into that, because it's like, I need y'all to do some serious reading. Then you have like the last stage, the rhetoric stage, which is 9th grade through 12th grade, and they are now focused on being college bound. So there is a lot more writing of papers, a lot more researching, and things of that nature. The math, of course, is a little harder. Then I also implement, we are, as you can see, I am a person of melanated complexion, and I believe in implementing a curriculum that is also based around one's culture. And since my children are of the African culture, of the African descent, we have implemented a Afrocentric curriculum as well. I like this one, Cultivating Warriors, an African-centered curriculum from Kamali Academy. I like that one because of the simple fact that it takes us not just from the history of the USA. It takes us to the history of African people all over the planet, from Europe, South America, the Caribbean, Asia, as well as Africa itself, the continent itself. And it doesn't start from, you know, when history was written. It starts from ancient history, from the time before slavery and before civil rights and things like that. I mean, my children do learn about that part of the history, but I think it's important for anybody, really, from every culture, to know where you began. So like, that really helps me out, and that gets the children interested in that as well. Also, we believe in the 7 principles. If you don't know what I'm talking about, let me show you that too. These principles, I'm sure you've seen if you follow Kwanzaa or you celebrate Kwanzaa, or if you have people who celebrate Kwanzaa. You know, you got the Umoja, which is unity, and then you got Kachichakulia, self-determination, Ujima, collective work and responsibility, and such on. And I teach that also in what we learn. So I ask the children each day, how can we unify? How can your self-determination, how do you define yourself? Collective work and responsibility, like how could you help build your community? Cooperative economics, how could you build and help your community? What is your purpose? And then of course creativity, we dance and they get to draw and do other things that are creative for them. Their faith, where is their faith at? What do they believe in? Then of course also they have the ABCs of good character, and usually the little ones learn this, and then the older that they get, I pray and hope that it has ingrained itself in them to the point that they don't have to be reminded of it. this is just an example of how I do their schedules. These two are just my two oldest daughters, Samantha and Miss Sasha. And usually I have them go by the days, like Monday, Tuesday. And Friday, I believe it's on this one. Friday is usually a very short day. They got health, art, writing, foreign language, and speaking. And foreign language this year, we're going to be doing more Swahili, and she wants to learn Spanish. That's the language she picked. And then, of course, we'll be learning German, since that's the country that we'll be going, and I need them to be able to communicate with people. That's how I learned as a military brat, and that's how they will learn. Now, this is a geography encyclopedia, and this is a geography encyclopedia that I love to use with them. It's colorful, and the pictures are gorgeous. And then, of course, because they get to go through all over the world with this book. Now, the younger ones will use this one more. My son will probably I more than likely will assign a country for him, and then, he will go with it and explore and research that country and the people of it until he can't do it anymore, until literally we're to the point where the only option he has now is just to go to the country itself. Then the next one is same people, but they have a history encyclopedia, and it's been fully revised and updated, and I'm sure it's been revised and updated since I got this book, and it's just as beautiful. I love it. And with this one, me and the children usually do together. My son, of course, he'll probably read like the little snippets that are in here, because the snippets are very small, very short. They're not long at all. Trying to find one like this one. They're not long, but the pictures are beautiful and gorgeous, and they got key dates and things like that. So this I'll probably read with the girls. Now it's just be me and them, but he will sit here and he might say, okay, well, now we're going to study the Americas, and this is the time period, and then he will go off on his own and he will do the research for that, because that is the part that he is at now in his schooling career. And I am extremely proud of the fact that he is now at that point where he does not need me as much. Like I told him the other day, you are now at a point where I am now just your tutor. I'm always your mom. I'm always going to be willing to teach you, especially when it comes to math and things of that nature. And to your writing, I will help you and teach you. But now he is at the tutoring stage where I am just here for support. Now, back to the holidays, because I did explain why we do not, what this is. Okay, I just wanted to explain this. So on the last Sunday of August, and up until the first Sunday of September, we have decided to take the celebration of fall and celebrate our ancestors. This is what we do. This is our belief. And Ghana they actually celebrate the Yam Festival. And because it's a fall festival, it's a harvest festival. So to us, this is a time for us to celebrate, or not really celebrate, but to remember our ancestors, because we are their harvest. They sowed the seed. We are now what they are reaping. And we believe in honoring them on this day. On this day, we remember them. We learn about them. We learn about what they would have eaten and things of this nature. And then we also, this is our version of Thanksgiving, because there is the first day of remembering them and honoring them. And there's the second day where we feast. And this is a time where we can actually invite family members and friends. And we have like a Thanksgiving Day feast type spread. You can imagine how many minutes I spend in that kitchen that day, but I'm okay with that particular day, as long as the conditions are right. It's not too hot in the kitchen, then I believe that I can do it, as long as too many people are not trying to come into my kitchen. And then we have also, since it's a holiday that we have officially made up for our family, we have the children have decided to come up with games to do. So Sunday would be the day that we do our games with each other, the games that they've made up. And they have, starting really, it's supposed to be the beginning of this month, they're really supposed to be doing that. It's the beginning of this month. They have until the first Sunday of September to have their games together. And then we get to play the games. This is also the day that we do singing and dancing, and we play music. And this is all in honor of our ancestors. That is the fall holiday that we have. We do not do Thanksgiving. And we do not do Thanksgiving because we have Native American in our family very strongly. My side, I have it on both sides. On my husband's side, both sides. And I do this in honor of them. I will not celebrate Thanksgiving because of that. That is my belief. If you have an issue with it, then I'm sorry. But I believe everybody has their own belief. Everybody has their own opinions. It is a time to celebrate and be with your family. And that's what a lot of people celebrate it for. And then there are those who are just like, well, I'm not celebrating for that reason. I don't support that. Fine, okay. However, this is what I do. This is what my family does. Thanksgiving to me is a day of mourning. The next one is, as you can see, in December. We do not celebrate Christmas. I think it's become too commercialized. And I also do not celebrate Christmas because of other reasons that I'm not going to get into. I just don't want to get into that. But the week before Christmas would technically be my children's winter break. On that week, because we have been, we're probably going to implement one more week of this. We call it the week of energy. And the week of energy is we totally like cut off any type of connection to the internet. No streaming, no getting on the internet, no playing games. It's a rough week for us all. But it's a much needed week because then after we're done with that, we feel better. We feel more rejuvenated. We've now reconnected with each other. We're outside more. We reconnect with nature. We reconnect with books more, even though we already are a reading family. We reconnect with some serious books. And that just gives us a time to really be together and really sit down and stop for 2 seconds and actually listen to ourselves, as well as anybody trying to tell us something on a spiritual level, a higher power, as we can say. The next one is March, usually around springtime, the first day of spring. For the first day of spring, what we do on that day is we celebrate our new year. It's not an African thing. It's not they're being a conspiracy thing. No, that's just when we actually believe the first year should be, because that's when things are actually blooming and coming to life. That's what we believe the first new year should be. Yes, we understand January 1st is the universal first new year, even though I really know right at this point it's not really universal because I believe the Chinese New Year is in February. They recognize the universal January 1st is the new year, but their new year doesn't start until like February. Our new year starts March 20th. That is it. We do summer, which is around the first day of summer. We do a holiday for that one, but by then we're not in school. And the first day of summer for us that is more of a recognition for us to Mother Nature about what has happened so far, the beauty of it. Yes, it is hot. It's all, as they say down here, is all get out. But the truth of the matter is we have to be thankful for the fact that there is a season where it's able to warm certain plants, because there are certain fruits and vegetables that are not in season in the spring. They're only in season in the summer. So we're thankful and we recognize that, because then we know that when the fall comes back around, things are going to start to go to sleep. And then there are certain plants that are grown during this time of season. Then we know winter's going to come back around, and that's going to be a time where everything is sleeping. All plants are sleeping. We are going to, of course, add more of our little own holidays, because sometimes the kids are like, I need more of a break, but I'm just like, hey, that whole week break that you get after 6 weeks of schooling, I don't see how much more breaks you need. I mean, children. But anyways, you did not see many books. Now, when it comes to curriculums, I am right now in the verge of taking all the curriculums that I use, as well as some that I'm learning along the way, and putting them together and creating my own curriculum for our family. It's not gonna be one that I sell or It might be one that I share with friends and family if they decide, but they don't necessarily have to follow it. Because with me personally, I don't go out and buy big boxes of curriculums. Now, I did that the first year, and a lot of that stuff did not get used. It was a total waste. I will make the schedule for the children. So for each children, I figure out, well, what grade do they need to be in? Do they need to be in fully third grade? For example, my oldest daughter, fully third grade, or do she need to be like doing majority of third grade? And is there some stuff that she needs to do second grade wise because she wasn't so strong in it? I understand their weaknesses and their strengths, and I base it off of that. I also, before the school year starts, at the end of the last school year, I usually ask them, what is your goals? Like, what do you want to do when you grow up? What do you want to be? And of course, since they're little, it changes sometimes. Prime example, my son, he wanted to be an animator at one time, and I think he still does. And he also wants to study photography. I have no issue with that. But his main goal is to become an engineer, a structural engineer, to be more specific. He loves to build the skeletons of buildings. He's not that person who really wants to build the rest of it. He just wants to be the person that's in charge of the structure of it. So with that, knowing what he wants to do, then I am able to go and make his schedule and his subjects based around just that one, or just around what he wants to do. So then I'm able to do the research for that whole entire summer to find out what is required for a structural engineer to know to get into a good college, or to even be an apprentice of some sort. What is required? What courses are required? And then I am able to implement that more into his school year. I do that with the girls as well. They tell me, well, I want to be able to read. So then I know we need to do more reading on your schedule. Or I want to be able to write in cursive. Well, then that's what we're going to be doing. They let me know what they want to be able to achieve for the next year, and then we go for that. Yes, they'll have the other subjects up there, and I might even add some. Like with the children, I add in business. They're going to learn about the ins and outs of business, that businesses don't always succeed, that there are failures. And if you fail at something, go back and look at it and see where you made the mistake, and then see what you could do differently, and then go with that. And then they also take their ideas and say, well, how can this benefit our community, inside our community, and how can it expand to outside communities? That's how we operate in here. We think about not just ourselves, but the community and others around us as a whole. Also, when I do the curriculums, like I said before, I don't have a whole lot of books to base it off of. That we might get language books to go with it. We might also find some math books. With my son, I use Singapore math. And then for the little ones, I use Tiger math. And I like Tiger math. It's almost like Singapore math, but I believe it's a little bit more simpler for them. I would also go on Pinterest. Pinterest is, if you're a mom or you're a woman, period. You know what? Pinterest has just been a lifesaver for everybody, men, women, and I believe children. It has been a lifesaver since it was created. And for homeschool moms, it is our #1 best friend. Never mind the fact that we might run into other homeschool moms or homeschool groups. Pinterest is where it's at. Also, the library is a homeschool mom's best friend. I will use Pinterest, and I am the librarian. I know her on first name basis. Me and her know each other because she sees me come in there. She knows exactly when our school year is getting ready to start, because she will see me come in there more, and I will check out almost every single book on the subject for my children. So they know who I am with that one. They're just like, hi, and they already have it set up for me. They're like, okay, bye, see you. And then Amazon becomes your best friend as a mom who's homeschooling and on a budget, because sometimes you don't want to buy the entire $200 or $400 worth of curriculum. Sometimes you just need like bits and pieces. So you go up there and Amazon's your best friend. The used bookstore can also be your best friend. Unfortunately, we don't have one anymore in the Fayetteville area. And also when you go to homeschool conventions, sometimes they can work out, but sometimes they're also selling curriculums. It depends on who you go to and where you go to. So that is what I do as a homeschool writing mom. So what will happen will be that my son this year will be making up his own schedule of what he'll be doing for each time, because usually I do that for them. But this year he will be doing it for him, and we only do school 5 hours a day usually. Well, with him, he knows that because we only do it for 5 hours, that means there'll be certain subjects that he will have to, focus on really for the week. He can't miss a day. He already knows this. But we usually strive for just 5 hours a day. Sometimes it goes over and sometimes it goes under. But we do not stress. That's the one thing I've learned over these 4 years is not to stress yourself out. If you don't get everything done, that's fine. Tomorrow's another day. If you're not too tired and the child's not too tired, you can do it later on in the day. I also learned that not every child is a morning bird. Some children work better in the afternoon or at night, whereas others, they have to do their schoolwork early in the morning before the rooster gets up. That's just it. And when it comes to my writing, I actually include that in their schedule. And because we have breaks in between their courses or their classes, I'm able to get some writing in. So I'm able to start early in the morning. When they do a break, we might clean or I might do some work, or they might read a book, whatever the break is going to be that day. And then we get back to work and we get back to it. So that is what I do as a homeschool writing mom. If you have anything that you do that is different or interesting, please share it in the comments below. Let me know. I would love to hear it because I always love to get advice and, take tidbits from other homeschool moms as well. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Hit the notification bell if you have not already. Share this if you would like, if you know a homeschool writing mom as well. Peace and love.